Heading into Week 5, some fantasy owners have tougher start-sit decisions to make. There are 4 teams on a bye this week. While the 5 up 5 down column is not meant to directly tell fantasy owners who to start or sit, it should help when looking at the rankings for each position. It may also help when looking at DFS lineups. At the end of the column is the full disclosure, listing how well last week's picks performed. Please note the 5 up 5 down column is a guide on players that should exceed or fall below their rank this week. This is based on past performance, injury status and matchup. This is not a start-sit column, but rather a guide. Positional rankings QBIRBIWRITIDSTIKI flex teams on bye: Atlanta, Denver, New Orleans, Washington. 5 up Carson Palmer, QB, Arizona Cardinals. In the past 3 games, Palmer has thrown for more than 300 yards each game and 4 touchdowns. He only has 2 interceptions in that span as well. The running game has faltered since David Johnson went down, so it's been up to Palmer to throw the ball. He's used his running backs and his wide receivers in order to get the offense going. He's ranked number 10 this week, but against a soft Philadelphia defense, he should break into the top 5. LeGarrette Blount, RB, Philadelphia Eagles. With only 2 touchdowns through 4 games, Blount has shown that he's not going to offer a repeat of 2016 in terms of getting into the end zone. In Week 4, he did run for 136 yards, but that's not going to be the norm either. However, with Wendell Smallwood banged up and potentially out for Week 5, Blount may see a larger than normal role this week. He's ranked the number 21 running back, but he should crack the top 20. Latavius Murray, RB, Minnesota Vikings. This is a gamble because fantasy owners haven't seen Murray with a full workload this season. He has been dealing with recovering from off-season ankle surgery, but he'll be given the majority of carries in Week 5. Sure, Jerick McKinnon is still in the picture, but we've all seen McKinnon have the opportunity to secure the Minnesota running back role and fail. It's up to Murray, and he should perform better than his number 30 ranking. Will Fuller, WR, Houston Texans. In his first game in 2017, Fuller had 4 receptions for 38 yards and 2 touchdowns. More importantly, however, he was able to spread the field for the Texans. Deshaun Watson had options other than DeAndre Hopkins. While it was his first game back, that kind of production cannot be expected each week. However, he is slowly making his way onto the fantasy radar. He's ranked as the number 38 wide receiver, and he has the potential to outperform that ranking. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, New York Jets. He has a great matchup and he showed that he was back and ready to play in Week 3, his first game back from suspension this year. After a 5,310 stat line in Week 3, he caught all 4 of his targets in Week 4 for 46 yards. As long as that trend increases, he will have TE2 value. He's ranked as the number 14 tight end this week, but he could exceed that. 5 down Ben Roethlisberger, QB, Pittsburgh Steelers. With only 6 touchdowns through 4 games, Roethlisberger hasn't looked like the borderline QB1 that he was being drafted as. He did have 3 away games, but he returns home this week, which should help. However, the number 9 ranking is still a bit high. The Steelers face the Jacksonville Jaguars, who actually allow the fewest points to opposing quarterbacks. While they haven't faced any of the big names, their defense is solid. This should be a Big Ben game. Lamar Miller, RB, Houston Texans. While Miller struggled in the first 3 games, he finally found the end zone in Week 4. He tallied his highest rushing yardage total, 75 of the season as well. However, this does not mean that he is a top 10 running back this week. Kansas City's run defense is stout. Aside from the 3 rushing touchdowns they gave up to Mike Gillislee on the first night of the NFL season, the Chiefs allowed just 1 other to a running back. Miller should finish outside the top 10. Alshon Jeffery, WR, Philadelphia Eagles. Jeffery owners must be frustrated by this point. He's had tough matchups, and he's faced some of the best cornerbacks in the league. Week 5 is no exception, as he has a date with Patrick Peterson when the Eagles face the Cardinals. Jeffery is ranked number 21, but it is going to be tough for him to break into that tier. Jeffery is a solid wide receiver, but he has struggled in tough matchups. 3,380 versus Josh Norman in Week 1, for example. Larry Fitzgerald, WR, Arizona Cardinals. Carson Palmer is going to throw the ball. However, the problem in Arizona is that there are too many pass catchers. Andre Ellington had the most targets and receptions in Week 4. Larry Fitzgerald and John Brown each had 7 targets, but Jaron Brown had 14. Throw J.J. Nelson in the mix along with Jermaine Gresham and others, and all those mouths to feed lead to fantasy headaches. Fitzgerald is ranked number 12, and one Arizona receiver will probably break the top 12, but trying to figure out which one is anyone's guess. Jason Witten, Dallas Cowboys. Well, Witten is usually a pretty steady TE2. He's ranked number 12 this week. He faces a Green Bay defense that has allowed the second fewest fantasy points to opposing tight ends. He's had one reception in each of the past 2 games for a total of 12 yards. While he may have a bigger role this week, it's not a great matchup. Full disclosure, Week 4, 5 up. Jameis Winston, QB, Tampa Bay Buccaneers ranked 13, actual 7. Christian McCaffrey, RB, Carolina Panthers ranked 16, actual 36. Jarvis Landry, WR, Miami Dolphins ranked 23, actual 34. Richard Matthews, WR, Tennessee Titans ranked 33, actual not in top 50. Cameron Brate, Tampa Bay Buccaneers ranked 18, actual 3-5. Down. Phillip Rivers, QB, Los Angeles Chargers ranked 8, actual 12. Jay RB, Miami Dolphins ranked 4, actual 37. Michael Thomas, WR, New Orleans Saints ranked 6, actual 4. Tyreek Hill, WR, Kansas City Chiefs ranked 13, actual not in top 50. Coby Fleener, New Orleans Saints ranked 12, actual 38. Bonus. Carlos Hyde, RB, San Francisco 49ers ranked 13, actual 27. Written by Sarah Lewis, who is part of the Athlon Contributor Network and lives, eats, and breathes fantasy football. She also writes for SoCaledFantasyExperts.com among other sites. Have a fantasy football question? Send it to her on Twitter at Sarah Lewis 32.